Continuing with the reading of Sri Isopanishad, the invocation, Om pūrṇam adaḥ pūrṇamidam
pūrṇamada pūrṇamidam
pūrṇat pūrṇam udachyate
pūrṇat
pūrṇam udachyate
pūrṇasya pūrṇam ādāya
pūrṇasya pūrṇam ādāya
pūrṇam eva vashishyate.
pūrṇam eva vashishyate.
Can someone
Shall I
please
continue?
read? Please, yes.
Sonia, you want to read?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'll read it.
Yeah.
The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete, and because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. Purport. The complete whole, or the supreme absolute truth, is the complete personality of the Godhead. Realization of impersonal Brahman or of Paramatma, the Supersoul, is incomplete realization of the absolute complete. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Sachidananda Vigraha. Realization of impersonal Brahman is realization of his Sat feature or his aspect of eternity, and Paramatma realization is realization of his Sat and Chit features, his aspects of eternity and knowledge. But realization of the personality of Godhead is realization of all the transcendental features, Sat, Chit, Ananda, bliss. When one realizes the Supreme Person, he realizes these aspects of the Absolute Truth in their completeness. Vigraha means form, thus the complete whole is not formless. If he were formless, or if he were less than his creation in any other way, he could not be complete. The complete whole must contain everything, both within and beyond our experience. Otherwise, he cannot be complete.
So here, this invocation is speaking about the complete whole, the absolute truth. We are trying to understand how complete it is, how complete the absolute truth is. You know, when we look at some object from very far away, it looks very hazy. We are not able to understand what it is clearly. Prabhupada would give the example of a hill. If we see the hill from very far away, it looks like some cloudy something, don't understand. Can't see the form, the shape of the hill. As we go nearer, we understand, the hill has a particular shape, looks something green there. You know, it becomes more defined when we are going closer. And once we are really very close, we can enter the hill, then we see, there are different plants and trees and rivers and animals. Similarly, when we try to understand God or we try to understand the absolute truth from very far away, we will understand him as impersonal, that he has no form. But when we gradually increase our understanding, the more knowledge we get, we will understand, that God, he is Paramatma in everyone's heart. He's in the heart of every living entity. He's in the atom of every atom of the universe. So he's all pervading like that. So the initial realization that he's formless, that he's light, the higher realization to understand that he's the Paramatma, and the perfect understanding is to realize that he's a person. The supreme absolute truth is a person. God is a person, the supreme personality of Godhead. And the Brahman, the Brahmajyoti, the light, that is the effulgence coming from his body, And Paramatma is a feature by which he is pervading the entire universe. The Bhagavatam says that the transcendentalists, those who are trying to understand the absolute truth, they understand him in these three features, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan. All three are students of the absolute truth. Depending on how much one has advanced in knowledge, one's understanding will be to that level. But the complete understanding is to understand the personal feature of God, that he is a person. So Prabhupada is saying, complete whole, here we are understanding this invocation mantra of Sri Isopanishad, where it's saying the complete whole, the absolute truth is a complete whole, means he contains everything. So by saying God is formless, we are trying to say that God doesn't have something. Then how can it be complete? So if we say that God is formless, we are going against the Vedas, because the Vedas are saying is the complete whole, has to have everything. So he has a form, and yet he's formless. He has a form, he has a transcendental form. Satchid Ananda, the two-armed form that we see of Krishna, holding a flute, a peacock feather, this is the absolute truth. Now, if we say, no, God cannot have a form, otherwise how can he be all-pervading? So then we are putting limitation on the complete whole. We are putting our own restriction. And how can we have something that God does not have? It does not make sense. Then we are trying to say we are greater than God. If we say that I have a form, but God does not have a form, that means to say that I'm greater than God. I have something that God does not have, but that's not true, because God is the complete whole. So he has to have everything that is in our experience and also everything that is not in our experience. But what we have to understand, that Krishna's form, God's form, is Satchid Ananda, eternal, full of bliss, full of knowledge. Satchid Ananda. So his Sat feature is Sat, eternal. Eternal. His Sat feature is understood on the Brahman platform, the impersonal Brahman, the Brahmajyoti. That is the Sat feature. The Chit feature, knowledge. So the Paramatma feature has Sat and Chit, eternal and knowledge. And understanding God as a person is also understanding eternal, knowledge, and bliss. The Ananda, the bliss is only when we understand that God is a person. Vigraha, form. He has a form. God has a form. Brahmaji, he says in Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Ishvara Parama Krishna, that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. He has a form which is Satchid Ananda, eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss. And that he has no cause, but he is the cause of all causes. Sarvakaranam Karanam. So the complete whole is not formless. Complete whole has everything. Complete whole must contain everything both within and beyond our experience. Otherwise, he cannot be complete. Is that okay? Any questions, comments, anything to add? So this is the first thing. Immediately, Isopanishad is bringing us to this important point. That God has a form. God is not formless. We see it's the invocation itself is helping us to clarify our doubt. Okay. You continue reading.
The complete whole, the personality of Godhead, has immense potencies, all of which are as complete as he is. Thus, this phenomenal world is also complete in itself. The 24 elements of which this material universe is a temporary manifestation are arranged to produce everything necessary for maintenance and subsistence of this universe. No other unit in the universe need make an extraneous effort to try to maintain the universe. The universe functions on its own time scale, which is fixed by the energy of the complete whole. And when that schedule is completed, the temporary manifestation will be annihilated by the complete arrangement of the complete whole. All facilities are given to the small,
I'm sorry,
complete
shall we
unit. Yeah, sure.
okay. Okay, sorry. So complete whole, the Supreme Lord, is omnipotent. We say God is omnipotent, right? We say God is omniscient. He knows everything, past, present, future. God is omnipotent. So he has these potencies, energies. And by these energies, he is like this material world is one of his energy, and she's complete. How the trees are giving out carbon dioxide during the day. I'm sorry, they're giving out oxygen during the day. So we can breathe in the oxygen, and the trees are breathing in carbon dioxide. It's like a perfect machine by itself. There's nothing needed to produce this oxygen and carbon dioxide. Now we, by our own interference with nature, we add to the pollution and create all the disturbances. But the way God has made the nature, it's perfect in itself. The sun knows when to rise and set. The moon knows when it has to rise and set. The rains, everything is happening in order. The orbit, the planets are going on the order, in orbit. Everything is fixed. This is how Krishna's arrangement is. It's a complete arrangement. It's a proper arrangement. Whatever incompleteness is there is because we are manipulating with the material nature. Because otherwise the system is there. There's not supposed to be any global warming or things like that. It's only when we are adding to the pollution the problems come. But nature in itself is complete. So the potencies, God has many energies. This material world is one of his energy. It's not that God has no energy. No, God has all the energies. Okay. Sorry, please continue.
Actually, just want to add something here.
Yes,
Um,
please.
That's okay.
Yeah, please.
Last time I was in Vrindavan, I visited the farm community of ISKCON in Vrindavan. It's in Agai land. I think it's led by a devotee called Vishnu Prabhu. And if anyone has the chance, please do visit that. They practically show you how everything is being sustained by Krishna. It's the most beautiful thing I've seen. I'm part of their WhatsApp community, so I keep getting updates. And they have this whole system which is cow centric and farm centric. They grow their own food, and it's amazing. Like, they've literally got rains when they have needed it. Just by chanting, they get rains. And it's like, if anyone is in Vrindavan, please do visit this initiative by ISKCON Vrindavan. So yeah,
Thank you.
that's that.
What's the name?
Thank you.
You said it's the community. Thank you so much for adding this.
It's in Agai land in Vrindavan.
Again.
So if you go to ISKCON, they have everyday buses which go at 4 a.m., 5:30 a.m. And they have programs there where they take you to the forest, and you can serve the cows in their habitat, not in a shed. Like how we have cow sheds. But what they do is they let the cows graze. So by grazing, the land is automatically getting sorted, like whatever is the natural process required for farming. So they're using the cows to their full potential. They don't use tractors and stuff because the cow is doing all the work. So I can't explain it. It's a little technical. That's why I'm just saying, like, you guys have to see this for yourself.
Yeah, it's good. I get the idea of what you're trying to say. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sounds very
Yeah.
good.
All facilities are given to the small complete units, namely the living beings, to enable them to realize the complete whole. All forms of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete whole. The human form of life is a complete manifestation of the consciousness of the living being, and it is obtained after evolving through I don't know the number,
8 million.
84
Million.
lakhs, yeah?
Yeah,
84
84
lakhs species
lakhs
of
or
life.
8,400,000. Yeah.
Okay. Species of life in the cycle of birth and death. If in this human life of full consciousness, the living entity does not realize his completeness in relation to the complete whole, he loses the chance to realize his completeness and is again put into the evolutionary cycle by the law of material nature.
So this human body, we have the capability to realize our relationship with God, the complete whole. We do have this capability. If we don't use that capability, then we are again in the cycle of birth and death. But if we do use it, we can go back home, back to Godhead, understand our real nature. That's the reason Krishna has made this human form of life in such a way. He's given this human body the intelligence to us. He's given us the ears by which we can hear the holy name, the tongue by which we can chant the holy name, chant his glories. The intelligence to understand, oh yes, I'm not the body, I'm the soul, I have eternal relationship with Krishna. So it's designed in that way.
Because we do not know there is a complete arrangement in nature for our maintenance, we make efforts to utilize the resources of nature to create a so-called complete life of sense enjoyment. Because the living entity cannot enjoy the life without being dovetailed with the complete whole, the misleading life of sense. The hand of a body is a complete unit only as long as it is attached to the complete body. When the hand is severed from the body, it may appear like a hand, but it actually has none of the potencies of a hand. Similarly, living beings are part and parcel of the complete whole, and if they are severed from the complete whole, the illusionary representation of completeness cannot fully satisfy them.
So our relationship is also being pointed out, no? That God is a person, that we are his parts and parcels, and that we have given this human form of life to be able to realize this and to reestablish our loving relationship with God. So the Prabhupada is giving us an analogy, the hand of the body. As long as it is attached, the hand is doing its proper work, what it's meant for. But when it gets cut out from the body, then it becomes useless. So we have forgotten our relationship with Krishna, and we need to reunite ourselves with Krishna. It doesn't mean we become Krishna or become one with Krishna. No, we realize our relationship with Krishna. What is our realize? And as Roshni just pointed out, she told us that practically the devotees are doing that. They are living off the nature. They are depending on nature, because this complete arrangement is there for us to live in a natural environment. But we have somehow created a modern society which is very far away from natural living. Anyway, wherever we are, whether we are in the city, whether we are in the forest, the point to understand is that we have an eternal relationship with God, and we need to revive this relationship. And that's the reason, because we have not yet revived this relationship, then we have feelings of dissatisfaction or incompleteness or, such things.
The completeness of human life can be realized only when one engages in the service of the complete whole. All services in this world, whether social, political, communal, international, or even interplanetary, will remain incomplete until they are dovetailed with the complete whole. When everything is dovetailed with the complete whole, the attached parts and parcels also become complete in themselves.
So serve, we say, why should I serve? I like to be served. Why should I be the one to serve? But if we just analyze what we do, what our actions are, we are serving. We are constantly serving. We are serving our parents, our spouse, our children, our customers, our bosses, our country, nation, friends, pets, whatever. If we just sit and analyze what we are doing, we are serving, because that is the nature of the soul. As what liquidity is to water, sweetness is to sugar, saltiness is to salt. We can't take away those things. Similarly, service is to the soul. We can't take that away. But now, this service attitude, the perfection is when it can be applied to Krishna, because that is our original service. We are applying it to different personalities or different areas right now. But the perfection is when we can serve the Supreme Lord. Just as the hands or the legs, the eyes, they're serving the complete body, That's how the body is functioning as a unit. Similarly, each and every one of us is meant to be serving the Supreme Lord. We are already serving. The idea of service may sound distasteful to our minds, but if we just analyze what we do, we are actually serving. But the perfection of this service is if we can serve the Lord. Service to the Lord begins by hearing and by chanting. Devotional service to the Lord begins by hearing from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, hearing from the authorities, and chanting the holy name. Did anyone want to add anything or comment?
That's fine.
And then we can go to the mantra one. Ishavasyam idam sarvam.
Ishavasyam idam sarvam.
Yat kincha jagatyam jagat.
Yat kecham yagatyam jagat.
Tena tyaktena bhanjeta.
Tena tyaktena bhujanta.
Ma grida kasya svidhanam.
Ma grida kasya svidhanam. Translation. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. Purport. Vedic knowledge is infallible because it comes down through the perfect disciplic succession of spiritual masters, beginning with the Lord himself. Since he spoke the first word of the Vedic knowledge, the source of this knowledge is transcendental. The words spoken by the Lord are called apaurusya, which indicates that they are not delivered by any mundane person. A living being who lives in the mundane world has 4 defects. First, he is certain to commit mistake. Second, he is subject to illusion. Third, he has a propensity to cheat others. And fourth, his senses are imperfect. No one with these 4 imperfections can deliver perfect knowledge. The Vedas are not produced by such an imperfect creature. Vedic knowledge was originally imparted by the Lord into the heart of Brahma, the first created living being, and Brahma in his turn disseminated this knowledge to his sons, disciples, and who have handed it down through history.
So, what are the 4 defects of every living of a conditioned living entity who's in this material world? What are those 4 defects? Here Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport.
Commit mistakes, illusion, propensity to cheat, and imperfect sense.
Okay, so now, because we have these imperfections, would we be able to what do you say, create or deliver, as I said, perfect knowledge?
No.
No, right? Because whatever we think of is going to be with imperfection. Whatever we come up with is going to be imperfect because we have these defects. So now, how do we get the perfect knowledge? Who's the original speaker of the Vedas?
Krishna.
Yeah. And so, what are the words spoken by Krishna called?
Apurasya.
That's right.
How you say it? Pronunciate it?
Aparusheya.
Apurasya.
Aparusheya. We are Purush, no? Human
Mhm.
beings. Aparusheya means indicate that, which indicates they're not delivered by any mundane person, not by any ordinary living being, spoken by the Lord Himself. That's what the Vedas are. And that's the reason the Vedas are authority. Otherwise, we had no reason to believe in the Vedas. You know, if it's somebody's imagination of somebody speaking out of their own mind, we have no obligation to hear about it or believe in it. But why do we have an obligation to hear and understand the Vedas? It's actually an obligation, it's a duty, because they're spoken by Krishna. The Vedic knowledge is transcendental knowledge. And what is a way to receive this transcendental knowledge? The way to receive it is in the disciplic succession, in the parampara. The parampara starts by Krishna himself. He's the original speaker. Tene hridaya brahmaya adikavaya. Krishna spoke the Vedic knowledge to Brahma in his heart. Brahmaji gave it to Narad, Narad to Vyasadeva, Vyasadeva to Madhvacharya, coming down to Lord Chaitanya and his followers, coming down to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur to Srila Prabhupada. And we are hearing from Srila Prabhupada. So hearing the knowledge in the disciplic succession, so that we know that we are hearing the original knowledge, not somebody's imagination or misinterpretation, but we are actually hearing the true knowledge. Okay.
Since the Lord is pūrṇam, all perfect, there is no possibility of his being subjected to the laws of material nature, which he controls. However, both the living entities and inanimate objects are controlled by the laws of nature and ultimately by the Lord's potency. This Isopanishad is part of the Yajurveda, and consequently it contains information concerning the proprietorship of all things existing within the universe.
So which Veda is this Isopanishad coming from? Part of which Veda?
Yajurveda.
Yeah,
Yajurveda.
Yajurveda. Yes, thank you. And you know, we are suppose now some of us are living in Panama. So we have to follow the rules, Panamanian rules, right? Some of us are living in India. So we have to follow Indian rules, right-hand drive, left-hand drive. We can't say I want to drive in whichever side of the road I want because I'm used to it, following the rules. Similarly, as long as we are in the material world, We have to follow the laws of material nature. Now, whether we follow it, we want to follow it or not, we are subjected to the laws. The birth, death, old age, disease, the law of karma. It is there. We are subjected to it, whether we like it or not. But then there comes a question of God. What about him? Does he have to follow the laws of the material world? What do you think? Roshni?
He's beyond the laws of the material world
That's right. Why?
because he made the laws.
That's right.
Like the Queen
Yeah.
of England doesn't need a passport. Similarly, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And Prabhupada would give the example of how we can understand this. There's a prison, and there are prisoners inside the prison. So the prisoners have to follow the laws of the prison, isn't it? They cannot leave the prison whenever they want. They cannot come inside the prison whenever they want. They can't say, oh, I'm going for a vacation now, so I'm going to see you after 1 month. No, the prisoner can't do that. Right? He can't come and go as he wants. He's there put in by the authorities. He has to abide by the laws. But what about if the president of a country he's just visiting the prison? Can he come and go as he likes?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. He doesn't. He's just coming by himself. He can. He's not subjected to the laws. He's coming there inside the prison, not because he's done something wrong or the police have put in there. He's coming by his own sweet will. So he's not subjected to the laws of the prison. He can come and go as his choice. Similarly, God is not subjected to the laws of this material world. He comes and goes as he likes. He's not subjected to karma because he does not have a material body. He has a transcendental body. The laws of karma, laws of nature apply only to the material body. Krishna, his body is transcendental, form is transcendental. So this Yajurveda and Isopanishad contains information concerning proprietorship of all things existing within the universe. Now we are thinking, each of us here is thinking that everything is made for my pleasure. Whatever I'm seeing, whatever is coming to me is for my pleasure. Whatever that exists is meant to please me. That's the reason we continue to play here in the material world. But the Vedas are trying to tell us, no, who is the rightful owner? The rightful owner is God. He's allowing us to use these things, yes, for our maintenance. We can't say, oh, I'm not going to eat food at all because it does not belong to me. It's not practical for us. So he allows us to use, but we have to understand who do the things rightfully belong to. And all the Vedas and scriptures tell us that everything belongs to God. Continue reading.
The Lord's proprietorship over everything within the universe is confirmed in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, 7.4 to 5, where para and apara prakriti are discussed. The elements of the nature, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, mind, intelligence, and ego all belongs to the Lord's inferior material energy, apara prakriti, whereas the living being, the organic energy, is his superior energy, para prakriti. Both of these prakritis or energies are emanations from the Lord. Where I am, okay. And ultimately, he is the controller of everything that exists. There is nothing in the universe that does not belong to either the para or the para prakriti. Therefore, everything is the property of the Supreme Being.
So Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita that the material energy and spiritual energy both belong to him. What is para prakriti? Para, here,
It
Prabhupada is-
says here his superior energy.
That's right. Para is superior. That's us, the living entities. And what is the apara prakriti?
The material.
Yes,
So that must be
material.
like the fire, water, and all that.
That's right. There's 8 elements which are mentioned here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are Lord's separated energy. Why separated? He does not personally associate with the material energy. Krishna does not personally associate with material energy, but he personally associates with the spiritual energy, his internal energy. So, anyway, whatever we are seeing in this material world is a combination of material energy and the living entity. The soul and this material world, this cosmic manifestation with its different shapes and forms and different phenomena. And if we break it all down, we will come down to these elements, the 24 elements: earth, water, air, fire, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. It's just different combinations and permutations of these elements. We are so attracted to these forms, so attached to them. It's just these elements that we are attached to. So this is the reason that Bhagavatam first 3 cantos specifically repeatedly speaks about the creation, to understand what is this creation, what is Krishna's role in this creation, and what is our role in, why are we here inside this material world. So anything, everything we see is a combination of this material energy and the spirit soul. Look at our body, for example. Our body, this gross and subtle body, the senses, it is all material energy. But we ourselves, the soul, we are the spiritual energy. So we see there's a combination. Or we take a car. Car is made up of all these material elements. And then there's a driver in the car. That's the living entity. See, so everything is just this inside this material world. And both of them belong to Krishna. So everything that we are seeing in this world belongs to Krishna. Or whatever, even if we are not seeing it, everything that exists belongs to Krishna. So he's the rightful owner of everything. All the scriptures are saying that. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself is also saying it. He's declaring it, that both the material and the spiritual energy, they belong to me. The living entities are mama vamso jiva bhuta, or mama vamso jiva loke. They are my parts and parcels, he says. Yes.
Because the Supreme Being, the absolute personality of Godhead, is the complete person, he has complete and perfect intelligence to adjust everything by means of his different potencies. The Supreme Being is often compared to a fire, and everything organic and inorganic is compared to the heat and light of that fire. Just as fire distributes an energy in the form of heat and light, the Lord displays his energy in different ways. He thus remains the ultimate controller, sustainer, and dictator of everything. He is the possessor of all potencies, the knower of everything, and the benefactor of everyone. He is full of inconceivable opulence, power, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation.
So Bhagwan, does anyone know the dictionary meaning of Bhagwan? As Parasara Muni says it.
No.
One who is full in all 6 opulences. All the opulences he has in full. Power, fame, beauty, knowledge, renunciation, or wealth. Here, all these 6 in full. Some of us may be having this opulence to a certain degree. Some of us have them to a higher degree. But nobody has them in full except Krishna. Nobody has these opulences. Nobody is more powerful than Krishna, more beautiful than Krishna, or more famous than Krishna. Krishna's fame is going on, material world, spiritual world, everywhere. Of wealth. One may possess this property, that property. Krishna owns the entire material world, spiritual world, everything. Knowledge. We may have a knowledge of particular field. We may be a doctor, a lawyer, PhD in something, but to have complete knowledge of everything. Holy Krishna, he's the speaker of the Vedas. And in spite of having everything, he's not attached to it. He's not proud about it. So he's completely renounced. We get so attached to whatever we have, It's mine, my knowledge, my beauty, my this, mine, whatever, mine. Krishna is completely renounced. So that's his position. That's the meaning of word Bhagwan, one who has all these opulences in full, and that is Krishna. So Krishna is complete intelligence. We can see a tiny portion of his intelligence can be seen. Krishna says, by my tiny fragment, I'm sustaining the entire world. The Paramatma feature that's sustaining the entire material world, Krishna is saying, is a tiny fragment. So how much intelligent is Krishna? That he's saying this is his tiny fragment. He's completely intelligent. And he has different energies by which he acts, the spiritual energy, the material energy, and we, the marginal energy. And he acts in that way. Just as the boss of a big company, he's given his instructions and the workers go on based on the instructions of the boss. The boss is somewhere else. He's not in the company. But everyone knows what they have to do. They're following the orders of the boss. And that is Krishna's position. This material nature is going on according to his orders. Is that okay?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you want to add anything? A comment? Question?
No, you're fine.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening and joining in. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta.